Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Crypto Brain, because right now the crypto market appears to be entering another one of those dangerous phases, where a single political discussion, a single narrative, or even one viral statement can completely shift market psychology overnight. And this time investors across the market are paying extremely close attention to Donald Trump and the rapidly growing conversations surrounding crypto, because social media is now being flooded with speculation, aggressive projections, and emotional reactions. While traders continue asking one very serious question, is the market quietly preparing for a move far larger than most people currently realize? Because if you have spent enough time inside crypto, then you already understand that markets rarely move only on fundamentals. They move on motion, speculation, narrative, momentum, and future expectation. And whenever a figure as powerful and globally recognized as Donald Trump becomes connected to crypto discussions, the emotional reaction inside the market tends to intensify very quickly, because investors instantly begin imagining larger possibilities, stronger institutional adoption, political influence, a regulatory momentum, and potentially explosive volatility. And perhaps that is exactly why the atmosphere inside crypto right now feels unusually tense, because the more these discussions spread across social media, the more attention the market begins attracting. And in crypto, attention has always been one of the most powerful forces, because attention creates speculation, attention attracts liquidity, and sometimes attentional one is enough end entire sectors of the market into aggressive momentum almost overnight. What makes this situation even more psychologically intense is the number now circulating aggressively across social media, because whenever traders see massive overnight projections or huge valuation discussions, their minds immediately begin shifting from caution into imagination mode. And imagination is one of the most dangerous emotional triggers in financial markets, because once investors begin visualizing future gains, rational thinking slowly starts to disappear in the background. And this is exactly why experienced traders monitor market psychology just as carefully as they monitor technical charts, because markets are not controlled purely by numbers. They are controlled by human behavior, emotion, fear, greed, and expectation. And right now, those emotions appear to be heating up once again, because many investors are beginning to feel that politics, institutional narratives, and future financial momentum may all be colliding at the same time. And throughout crypto history, whenever those forces combine to jet, their volatility usually follows shortly afterwards. At the same time, another critical factor cannot be ignored, and that is uncertainty, because uncertainty has always been one of the strongest fuels driving the crypto market. And right now, uncertainty appears to be spreading rapidly, because traders are trying to determine whether the latest Trump-related crypto discussions are simply another temporary social media cycle, or whether they represent something much larger quietly developing behind the scenes, because history has repeatedly shown that markets often begin moving emotionally long before reality officially changes. And that is why smart money tends to observe narratives connected to politics, regulation, finance, and institutional behavior extremely closely. Because once the market becomes emotionally activated, price action can become extraordinarily aggressive in a very short period of time. And perhaps that is exactly why so many traders are currently watching these developments more closely than the charts themselves, because they understand that the next major move may not begin with technical analysis at all. It may begin with sentiment, momentum, and narrative expansion. What also makes this entire situation even more dangerous is the emotional pressure now building inside retail investors, because retail traders rarely struggle during moments of clarity. They struggle during moments of confusion, because confusion creates hesitation. Hesitation creates emotional stress, and emotional stress leads directly to irrational decision-making. And right now, confusion surrounding these Trump-related crypto discussions appears be intensifying by the hour, because every new social media thread, every new projection, and every new conversation adds another layer of speculation into an already emotionally charged environment. And as speculation increases, volatility normally follows, because narratives in crypto never travel alone. They carry emotion, fear, greed, expectation, momentum, and imagination all at the same time. And once those forces begin combining together, markets can become extremely unpredictable very quickly, which is precisely why many experienced traders now leaveth the market may be approaching another major emotional phase, because throughout crypto history, the largest moves have often arrived when the majority still believed nothing extraordinary was about to happen. At the same time, political influence inside crypto is something many people continue underestimating, because whenever globally recognized political figures become connected to crypto narratives, investors automatically begin assuming that future regulation, institutional participation, and financial momentum could eventually if das well. And whether those assumptions become reality or not, it is almost irrelevant in the short term, because perceptional one is often enough to move markets emotionally. And Right now, perception surrounding crypto appears to be changing rapidly, because the more political attention the market receives, the more emotionally activated traders become. And once emotional activation reaches extreme levels, volatility tends to intensify dramatically, which is why many traders are no longer watching this situation casually, they are observing it very fully, because they understand that attention inside crypto is never isolated. Attention attracts momentum, attention attracts liquidity, and sometimes attentional one becomes powerful enough to create violent price action across the market. At the same time, there are now two completely different camps forming across the crypto community. Because one side believes these discussions are simply another temporary hype cycle, the other side believes the market may quietly ring a much larger financial narrative involving politics, institute, on-al momentum and future regulation. And throughout financial history, periods of maximum uncertainty have often created the largest emotional reactions, because uncertainty simultaneously creates panic sellers and future believers. And right now, both groups appear to exist inside the market at the exact same time, which is why the atmosphere feels so psychologically unstable. Because fear has not fully taken control, yet confidence has not fully returned either. And whenever markets become trapped between fear and opportunity, volatility usually becomes extremely aggressive shortly afterwards. And perhaps the most important psychological factor of all is the fear of missing opportunity, because modern retail investors already feel financially pressured by rising living costs, economic uncertainty, and the growing belief that traditional financial systems no longer provide the same opportunities they once did. Which is why so many younger investors continue searching for assets, narratives, and technologies that they believe could potentially change their financial future. And once those emotional motivations become connected to large political narratives, speculation tends to accelerate even faster, because the market stops behaving rationally and starts behaving emotionally. And throughout crypto history, emotional markets have always produced the most explosive reactions. So no, the real question every trader, investor, and crypto holder needs to ask themselves is whether these latest Trump-related crypto discussions simply become another short-lived social media storm, or whether this develops into one of those rare moments where political attention, emotional momentum, and financial speculation combine together strongly enough to completely surprise the wider market. Because one thing is becoming increasingly clear: the more uncertainty spreads throughout crypto, the more impossible it becomes for traders to ignore the possibility that something much larger may quietly be building behind the scenes. If you enjoyed this update, make sure you leave your thoughts down below, because I genuinely want to know whether you believe this is simply another temporary narrative cycle, that the market may genuinely be preparing for something much bigger. And as always, if you are new, make sure you subscribe to Crypto Brain, turn on notifications, and stay locked in, because in markets like these, the biggest opportunities often appear when emotions are running at their absolute highest levels, and almost nobody can yet see the full picture. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one.